Hey, Nitwits. Floridian Buckeye here, and with me as always, Domo99.
What's up?
And also, Game Over Joey.
Hey, Nitwits.
For today's episode on Nitwits Talk, will Amazon purchase EA? This is a rumor, nothing is guaranteed. Joe, what do you think?
Yeah, so when I saw this come up, I first and foremost, I immediately, dude, my heart sunk down into my stomach, and I was sick. So I personally feel this would be a horrible thing to happen, and here's why. Amazon obviously has the funds to do this, right? They can purchase EA. EA is worth like $40 billion. So EA can easily cash that out, say, Amazon can say, here's $40 billion. We're going to acquire EA. No problem, right? No problem at all for a $1 trillion company. But Amazon does not have the best track record with their games. So, as many people know, they have a game called New World. Okay, not the most polished game. 90% of the player base left due to it being not very well polished. Okay, then they had a game called Crucible. Do you know what that game is? I don't think anyone does. Crucible came out, then they shut the game down after it came out within 2 weeks. So the game was alive for not even 2 weeks, and I tell you, it was terrible. So here's my fear. They're going to be, if they were to buy EA doesn't have the best reputation either. They are known to be greedy. Here's the thing. EA, I think, has to be the worst developer and publisher out there. I just see nothing but bad vibes here. And one thing a lot of big studios do, or big companies do when they buy a game studio, they sell the properties, the IPs, kind of like Discovery was trying to do, right, with Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
My fear would be is they say, you know what, we're going to sell off DICE, who has the rights to Battlefield. Somebody buys them, let's say PlayStation per se. And then they're saying, okay, you know what? We're going to sell off EA Sports to somebody else. And then they just piece apart the company, and then the company is no longer there. It's just, to me, it just gives off really, really bad vibes. And I can see that happening because Amazon does not have the best track record for developing games. Secondly, the other fear I have is it actually going to... all their games, if they were to buy EA, would go to Amazon Luna, and let's say it was exclusive to try to get people to get their streaming service. That would be very upsetting in my eyes because, again, I don't want to have to pay for another service. And knowing that they are developing NCAA again, I want to play that game. If the only way to play it was to say Amazon Luna, I can't see myself paying for another subscription.
Barf.
So that's kind of where I'm at right now with it. So I can see it happening for sure because I know Amazon's trying to get their foot in the game. But the only way it would be a good thing is if Amazon purchases them. I wouldn't want them to do quality control because they've shown they can't. So they would literally need to hire some really strong talent that has worked at Xbox. I'm just going to go that route to really oversee development of these games. Number one. And number two, I think ultimately make sure the games are being published on all platforms, not just Luna. Again, which is their own, subscription service that they're coming out with. And I can see it happening for sure. I know they want to get their foot in the door, and EA does have some good talent. I mean, Battlefield 5 is a phenomenal game. Was it great at launch? No, but it's a great game now. And that seems to be the the way that happens at EA. But yeah, I personally I can see it happening, but I have a lot of fears. So if you're asking me, I don't want to see it happen. I would rather see Sony or Xbox grab that studio, or grab EA and develop their games because they do a lot better of a job. But I do think Amazon would have the best chance in this case, especially since Xbox is acquiring everything. But those are my thoughts, Dago.
Hey, thank you for that, Joe. Over to you, Tom. What are your thoughts?
Listen, there's nothing better in this world than watching a horrible, toxic relationship right here. This would be the perfect, most horrible relationship of all time, and I can't wait. I'm so rooting for it to happen just to watch how horrible this will be. New world, all the hype in the world. Joe, I think me and you literally were going to stay up till midnight and play it. And then instead we waited till the next morning and then discovered it was like an 8-hour queue to get in. Like, yeah. What? So Amazon had all the hype in the world, all the money, all the everything, and can't buy servers. And then you have EA on the other side, who's just the most money-hungry.
Correction, real quick. They own the world's largest server farm.
Oh, my bad, guys.
Even worse.
They don't know how to utilize what they have. So that's great. And over in EA, the most money-hungry business of all time, of just microtransactions to death you, just making you pay for every little stupid thing. Although they do have Mass Effect, so shout out to the greatest game of all time. But what a great, toxic, horrible, like, reality TV show this relationship would be of there's nothing good. Like, there's no way these two companies would be able to work together. And like, it's sad because Madden's a fun game. I do want to play NCAA. I will play NCAA when it comes out. FIFA's another solid game. Like, there are good games that EA has, but they're so bad with their games because they literally just launch an unpolished game, let people complain about it, do a couple patches, and get it rolling. I mean, Battlefield came out, and they're still working on that game. Like, at the state it's in now, you could argue that it shouldn't have been released in this state. And we're just so happy it's improved to the point where it's at now. In 2042. Like, it's just fascinating to me that EA does these things, and a company like Amazon could buy them for gaming, and it would just be the worst relationship of all time. Like, that's beautiful to me. So I'm rooting for it just to see the epic collapse of what this could be, and just us being like, wow, what in the world just happened?
You know, the best part about all this is that EA, we've discussed this before, is seriously, man, EA is Nolan Sorrento and, IOI, right? They literally are the villains in Ready Player One. That has to be who that is about. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that is how the villain was created in Ready Player One. I'm just saying. Look,
it's insane to me that, like, and the problem is, like you said, they have the money to do it. They can buy EA, no problem, and it's not going to hurt them. But it's like, it would be like watching a train wreck, and instead of doing anything to stop it, you're just going to pull out your phone and record it, because that's all I will do. Yeah. I'm going to sit here and enjoy this so much.
Yeah, and the other piece too, man, is like, again, going back to, like I said, about them piecing out properties.
Yeah.
EA owns so many properties that they just sit dormant, like Army of Two, for example, which is a huge one back in the day.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings Conquest. These are games that they had made for, many, many moons ago, but never brought back. I think of like Magic Carpet, Wing Commander, Syndicate. These are games that they made, just said, you know what, don't care for anymore, not a big deal, and never bring back, which I would love to see some of these old school games brought back. But again, I just think Amazon would piece it out, sell these properties to other companies. Man,
EA has Star Wars.
Yeah.
And they can't do anything with it.
Well, hey, let's see how long they have it.
Yeah, well, that's very, very true with the rumors rumbling there. But
you're not just that. Think about it. Disney, their new game coming out September, is on Game Pass. And Xbox is rumored to have that Mandalorian MMO. So I think not. I do think that they could be changing who their developers are.
Good.
And I know that EA is currently developing like 3 Star Wars games right now, but that doesn't mean to say that they're exclusive, because they're not. But yeah.
But I can't wait to watch this toxic relationship. What are your thoughts?
Man, hey, I kind of have to agree with both of you. Yeah, even though the Amazon might have the money to purchase it, kind of like what Joe said. You kind of piggybacking on that. I would have to, hopefully, somebody like some of these game developers from Xbox would have to go over to Amazon. Give them some pointers in order for me as a consumer to feel comfortable. But if something was to happen, as long as they don't mess up the NCAA, we have been waiting for almost a decade for that game to come back. As long as that game does not get messed up, I am okay. Well, Nitwits,
Touche.
that is all we have for this episode in Nitwits Talk. Peace, love, and chicken grease.
Peace, Nitwits.